Hi everyone, welcome to BRICS Briefs.
Hello.
Before we get started, thank you for joining us. We've got an interesting discussion lined up today that will get you thinking about the relationship between European countries and the BRICS nations. We're excited to have Luhan Vaz, Vice-President of the BRICS Plus Development Group in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hi Luhan, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for receiving me.
Luhan brings a unique perspective, having a lot of experience and insight in both BRICS and European markets. We'll
Yes,
look at how these economic heavyweights are not just rivals, but also potential partners in today's increasingly connected world. We'll be looking at the heart of how the BRICS countries are planning to grow their economies, expand their markets, and gain more influence around the world. We'll also talk about how Europe is responding to the rise of BRICS, including strategic partnerships, economic policies, and the race for technological and industrial development. Luhan will share his insights on how the BRICS Plus Development Group supports businesses entering these emerging markets. They offer financial support through a dedicated investment fund and help businesses develop their strategies and operations. He'll also talk about his role as honorary advisor to the BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry in France, highlighting the importance of connecting French companies with businesses in the BRICS countries. We'll look at the opportunities and challenges for European companies in BRICS markets, the importance of bilateral trade agreements, and the ongoing competition in sectors like energy, technology, and agriculture. We'll also look at how politics and regulations affect this competition and cooperation. So join us as we explore how Europe and the BRICS countries can live side by side, compete, and work together. All right.
Hopefully work together. Welcome, Luhan, once again.
thank you very much.
So, thank you for your time. First of all, you are very busy, and we appreciate you found in your very tough schedule some time for us. So, let me ask you first question that we know, and our viewers, of course, know not so much about the BRICS Development Group. So could you briefly introduce the BRICS Development Group and its main objectives?
Yes, so the BRICS Development Group, BDG, is based in Sao Paulo in Brazil. Is an incubator dedicated to helping businesses establish and grow in BRICS countries. Our main objective are to facilitate entry into this market by directly connecting companies with the right contact. We save time and money while ensuring a high level of quality. And we also offer financial support through our partnership with investment funds.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There is
What
also
are your main responsibilities as Vice President of the BRICS Development Group?
So I travel a lot. And, as Vice President, I oversee strategic operation and project development within the BDG. So my role includes relationship with partners and organization. And I also ensure a presence on European continent because I live in France. I am Franco-Brazilian. So I know the Europe, I know the Brazil, I know the BRICS countries. And I am honorary advisor for the BRICS CCI in France. I facilitate relation between French companies wishing to work with the dynamic BRICS CCI in New Delhi.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
So
yes.
can I just ask here? You know, if companies, and this is something that audience has actually been wanting to ask, and it's very interesting because we want to connect businesses, companies. They want to participate in BRICS initiatives. You know, it's very popular, right? This is a channel and we talk about it. How would they? Do they just get in contact you through your website? How do they get involved?
So if they get involved in our company?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're dealing with the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, but you're in a development group.
So,
Should they?
okay. So BDG is a company, you as I told, and CCI is another thing. Is only at the Chamber of Commerce. Is a non-lucrative organization, and CCI is is in India, but is not. It can help you to find the partners, but BDG is a real incubator
Oh,
Okay.
and a private
okay.
company.
Okay. Well,
Right. Okay. Thank you.
given your extensive travel experience, as you told, and your unique, we may say, Franco-Brazilian background, what is
Yes.
your vision about the BRICS and global South?
Oh, okay. So, as I told, I am 36 years old. I'm Franco-Brazilian, and I became an entrepreneur at a very young age, which allowed me to learn a lot and understand the real economic reality. I have the opportunity to visit more than 50 countries, allowing me to witness the transformation of some countries, and particularly those in the BRICS group. But I find the concept of the global south misleading and simplistic. It is a geopolitical construct made in opposition to Europe, USA, and G7, but is not the reality because the BRICS countries work with the entire world. The BRICS country works with the world. For example, China is often described as an emerging power, but it is actually a superpower and could well become the leading global power in the coming decades. And India, on the other hand, is a demographic giant with immense growth potential, yet recently surpassed China in terms of population and could follow a trajectory similar to China if it managed its democratic dividend well. And then you had major emerging economies like South Africa, Brazil, and Russia, which have developed their economies and middle classes, but still have enormous potential to explode. And the Gulf countries, such as Saudi Arabia, are significant financial power due to hydrocarbons, but their population are relatively small. However, having visited Saudi Arabia twice this month, and I can say that it's developing extraordinary with real revolution by investing large amount of money and saving. So for me, it's important to recognize that we are in a period of global transition, and Europe, because we talk about Europe today, talking about the BRICS, must navigate these dynamics skillfully. I believe that Europe has a unique opportunity to play a balanced role in this new world. We must build strong partnership with emerging powers while maintaining our independence. So I see Europe as an important player that can offer balanced path between two major powers.
Two major power, you mean the US and China?
Yes.
And China. So we have two poles.
Yes.
And between them, there is Europe.
Yeah, you have the Europe. So as I told to the company who work with BDG, for a Brazilian company, for example, I told go to Europe because Europe is between China and America. If you go only to USA, it's difficult. But when you go to USA, you never go to Europe and Asia. More difficult.
No, it is, in fact.
Well,
But,
how do you perceive the current? Oh, sorry, Anastasia, go ahead.
Yeah. Continue. No, it's okay.
Okay, all right. Luhan, how do you perceive the current relationship between France and the BRICS member countries?
Because France, like being among the European G7, and so maybe we perceive it something different.
Yes, President Macron, I was with the president in Brazil in March, understood the France have to do business with the BRICS. Macron visited India in January, and we visit Brazil in March. And France is a powerful power. We have a lot of industry. So France must have a good position with the BRICS.
Yeah, but not only Macron visited Brazil and India, but also Chinese president
Yes.
visited France as well.
Chinese go to France, yes. His name a visit d'État in French, and a very powerful visit from Xi Jinping in France.
Yeah, but in your opinion, the main challenges and the main opportunities for Europe in the face of the rise of the BRICS, as we see?
As the main challenge for the Europe and the BRICS is include increased competition, cultural, and we have regulatory difference. And Europe need to adapt quickly to changing market dynamics. We have many opportunities. The Europe can access to rapidly growing market with the BRICS, possibilities for diversifying supply source and potential cooperation in sectors such as technology, energy, and agriculture is the future.
The key sectors.
Yes. Moreover, it's crucial not to perceive BRICS as a homogeneous bloc, but to understand the specific of each country for better collaboration.
Well,
that's the key.
It's fair because the BRICS, now we have in BRICS more than 5. It's 10 countries, and all that countries are unique.
Yes.
They are different one from each other, politically, economically, culturally, from all points of view. And of course, the approaches should be not the standard one and applied to every BRICS country, but it should be unique approach. You're right.
Yeah. And begs the question, does France have a specific strategy to strengthen its relations with the BRICS, particularly in areas of trade, investment, and technological cooperation?
Yes, France have implemented several initiatives to strengthen relations with the BRICS. This includes free trade agreement, economic and commercial missions, and collaboration in R&D. So the efforts are focused on strengthening bilateral exchange and facilitating foreign direct investment. So, but we must also accelerate bringing students from emerging countries, as we need to understand each other better to collaborate more effectively in the future. I need to know how the Indian think and the new Brazilian think is the key for the future. We have a different culture, so it's very important.
Yes, you're
Free
right.
trade agreements. Do you think that's still a good idea, Luhan? I don't mean to get too political, but I think it's very important that I ask that question in addition, because obviously free trade, right? But anyway, actually, I probably shouldn't ask. If you want to comment, that's fine, but I just think we've seen how that's gone in the past.
A free trade agreement?
Yes, free trade.
The complex subject, because they have a lot of problem, like in France with the Mercosur, with the agriculture. So it's too delicate to speak. We have too much free trade agreements.
Yeah. Okay. No, cool. Again, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
okay, it's the site of BDG, yes. So you have the French version, yes, in English version.
Okay.
So you see in the BRICS 10 countries, 46% of the world population.
Well, if we go back to France as a European member, the member of European Union. So the European Union has recently implemented various policies to position itself in response to new global economic powers. How do you assess these policies? Are they sufficient? Can you tell?
Okay. I don't like the word response and this shortcut of being against BRICS. We need to work together. I told every meeting we need to work together. It's crucial to adopt a more proactive approach to maximize partnership and cooperation opportunities. Current initiative should be reinforced by better coordination among member states and a greater flexibility to adapt to the specifics of BRICS market. The Europe must prepare for geopolitical reconfiguration, and the BRICS will play an increasingly central role.
Well, how can Europe and particularly France, companies take advantage of the growth of BRICS countries?
Yes, European companies can take advantage of BRICS growth by investing in this market. We see with Airbus, the example. Airbus sold 100 Airbus to Saudi, to the new company. Talking about Saudi, you have a new company, Riyadh Air, coming. So it's a market for European company. And we have to adapt our products and services to the specific needs of the new economy. It's also important to invest in R&D, research and development, to remain competitive, because the BRICS countries are advancing very quickly. And Europe doesn't have to forget that. And furthermore, it's essential to understand that BRICS are not a homogeneous group, but a collection of countries, as I told, with a varied economic dynamic.
Well, since February 2022, a lot of French companies left Russian markets. So I think the growing BRICS unity will help them find other markets. And as soon as BRICS have recently welcomed new member countries, what impacts do you foresee for this expansion?
So they have new countries. For information, Saudi Arabia is not official yet.
Yeah.
They are waiting. Maybe it's the BRICS, maybe it's the G7. We don't know. But the expansion of the BRICS to include new member countries is good because we also diversify cooperation opportunities and we create new markets. And this expansion reflects the BRICS desire to claim a more significant role in international institutions as a FME and the World Bank. So it's good. But BRICS now need a structure.
Do you see?
Excuse me, Clive. When you say BRICS need a structure, what do you mean by that? Parliament?
Yes, a parliament. The President Putin told about parliament, and I think it's a good news. We have to structure more the BRICS because the BRICS doesn't exist officially.
Yes.
It's just the name, but we don't have a structure. We have only the bank, the official project from the BRICS, but we need to structure that.
Well, there are some pros, and some people say that the structure and, as Putin told Parliament, will bring how we should say, a lot of bureaucracy among BRICS countries.
Yeah. And it's difficult because each country is
Yes.
very, very, very different about bureaucracy.
Exactly. But from the other side, you are right that it is not an association, or I don't know, like we know some international associations are. BRICS is just a name, acronym.
Yes. Acronym.
It's like economic. We may not tell union because they do not have the structure. They do not have secretary office, or I don't
Yes.
know.
We only have
only time will show.
the official of BRICS. We have the bank and the summit.
Yep.
Mm.
So, in your opinion, the structure is needed.
Is needed. Yes, because as I told, you can see the BRICS is growing very, very fast, and if you're growing, you need a structure. You cannot grow without a structure. It's impossible.
Mm. I was actually having this discussion with our producer, who has very significant experience in the political sector, and but my thought was, obviously there's a lot more transparency in traditional parliamentary systems. So, like, freedom of information when they're talking, that's usually televised or reported on, or there's transcripts of what they're talking about. Because as it is, we don't really know what they're talking about at all. Which is a really,
Yes.
it's a concern.
Okay, so
True.
this is an opinion, yeah.
Yeah, it is. We're just speculating. So, but back to which sectors or industries do you believe are most conducive to cooperation between France, Europe, and BRICS?
First one, the sector of energy, the renewable energy, information technology, agriculture, healthcare, and this industry offer opportunities for strategic partnership and joint projects that can benefit both European companies and BRICS economies. And additionally, educational and cultural exchange can strengthen the ties between this region. I trust a lot about education. For me, education is the key in the world. To invest in education is a very good point.
Yes,
So
you are not the only person who was talking about education in this. But I don't know if you have already seen on our website and our channel that we have BRICS Plus Universities Cooperation. So about also this initiative to connect the universities to exchange, like you say, the culture, the knowledge, the students, to know better each other. It's important. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's important.
Clive, you wanted to add something?
I was going to say, because I know, with the history of France being a colonial power, there's quite a lot of countries who have French as a second language. So that's certainly an advantage when you're trying to have education, professionals training, imparting technological development, knowledge bases. So I can see that. And because France is very a very advanced country. I mean, there's many. I'm not a historian, but I'm just saying that there's many time points where France has been the first, which I won't ask you to say, but that's significant. And so if they're cooperating with other countries under the BRICS alliance, that initiative, that development purpose, I think that's very positive. And I think that would be very good for the reputation too, because there's been a lot of heat lately. Mali, Burkina Faso. I mean, some of the African countries are not happy, and France comes up in the drama of the media narrative. So that will be very positive, and I think that's something that can be leveraged. If media is smart, they could actually leverage it and say, we have this opportunity.
Yeah.
Language. Anyway, I'm carrying on a bit. Sorry.
We want to create, and maybe we work together about this project to promote exchange between the BRICS countries and France. It's very important because French people are very French, and they need to open the mindset to the world. That's difficult. And you see in French, my English is very French, and the French are very French. So we have to work about that.
That's a good way to explain it, actually.
Yeah. We see there are some obstacles, but what are the main obstacles to overcome for increased cooperation between Europe and BRICS?
The main obstacle include we have the regulatory difference. We don't have the same rules, and in Europe we have very good rules about a lot of things. We have the barrier of cultural barrier, financing difficulties, because some European banks are afraid to invest in some countries of the BRICS, and some problems about the intellectual property protection. But it is crucial to develop harmonized regulatory frameworks and facilitate access to financing to overcome this challenge. And furthermore, it's very important to understand that BRICS do not constitute a bloc, and each country have a specific economy. I told you several times, but it's very important. France doesn't work with Russia about the problem with the war, but can work with Brazil, Saudi Arabia. So we have to adapt every time. The situation changes every day.
Yes, it is.
Can I just, we had the producer put up this, let me just read it before we get to our last question. Shankar says, there is an overlap in Luhan's perspective. France and EU are being used interchangeably, and France's bilateral agreements with individual nations of BRICS countries overlap with France's BRICS strategy. Can you comment on that? That's interesting.
Yes, so it's not a France BRICS strategy because France doesn't have BRICS strategy, but it's strategy from the French government. The President Macron told he wants more students from India. Shankar is from India, I see.
Yes.
We have to have a more connected world. It's very important. So maybe if the BRICS have a parliament or a structure, the BRICS can imagine a project like that.
Yeah. More structured. Yeah.
Yeah, more structured.
Well, vision-wise, what is your, especially because you're at the coalface. I mean, you're traveling, you're talking to people, advice, they're talking to you, what they're thinking. What is your vision for the future of relations between France, Europe, and BRICS in the next 10 years?
A new word is coming. In 30 years, we don't have to forget half of India population will belong to the middle class. Moreover, main natural reserve and the large demographic force are in the BRICS countries. Europe must inscribe itself in the new evolving dynamic. Europe is a very hot continent, and I think, as I see when I work with a European, we have to accompany the change with more humility about the BRICS countries. The Europe have to have more humility and build a different relationship as a significant shift in the world is underway. The world is changing. The world of today is not the same in 20 years. They are changing very fast. So it's difficult to adapt our position, but the world is changing. We need to be very focused about that.
Well,
Yeah,
not,
it
not
certainly
only
is.
Europe changed. Yes, Luhan, you are right. The entire world is changed.
Yes.
It's not like even 10 years ago. It's not like 20 years ago. Europe is different. China is different. So you are, who is traveling a lot, you may say, if it is true that in 20 years China became absolutely different country
Yes.
than India. And you are right about their population. For example, we know from our Indian colleagues that, and we have done some research, that about 70, maybe I'm mistaken right now because I do not remember well, about 75% of India's population is under 35 years old.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I saw that.
So
Like
they are
it.
very young.
And in Saudi Arabia, it's the same thing.
Saudi Arabia, Egypt. If we talk about Egypt, it is almost the same. They are very young in population, and Europe is very old.
Yes, very old.
Respectively.
Yes.
If we are talking about Russia, for example, yes, Russia is a very huge territory, but we have very low demographics.
Yes, we have a lot of.
If we are talking about Brazil, it's a big territory, but what about population? About the demographic levels. So step by step, year by year, decade by decade, the center of all the whirlpool is going to Asia.
Yes, and this country understood they have young people, and they invest a lot in education. As I told, education is key. And I saw in India you have a lot of young, very talentuous, very talentuous, and they don't need more to go to Europe to study. Now they stay in their country. So it's an interesting point.
And recently, there was a call from China as well for the students who are right now in the United States. And the Chinese government says, okay, guys, now we are well trained. You have good education. It's time to back home because we need you at home.
Yes.
We are ready to support you. We are ready to assist you somehow, but come back because we need to develop our country right now.
Yeah, that's good.
So step by step.
Step by step. And when I go to Saudi Arabia, the people like to say step by step. We have.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very nice. The site. What is this site?
This is the BRICS Plus University Association.
This association, yeah.
Okay, very nice.
So they're very well organized.
Okay, where is based?
And I'm pretty sure it's in Russia. Is that correct, Anastasia?
They're based in Russia, yes, but they're working in China or in India. Sorry, and the goal is to pick up smaller universities, not those one that we know very well, but smaller ones, and to connect them one with each other to interchange. So
okay, very nice, very interesting.
Yeah, this is a very good idea.
Yeah, I think with that demographic, I think it's very interesting you bring that up, Anastasia, because I think it's a very important point. Just to reiterate again,
Brazil,
yeah,
it just keeps going.
Just from Brazil as well, yes.
Yeah, Africa. It's actually amazing how many, and these guys are really, we struggle. But with the older population, the older demographic in
Yeah,
Europe, and the younger demographic in the developing BRICS countries, I think it's very interesting that maybe this subject, this social way, obviously, usually, traditionally, older people would educate the younger people. But also the younger people would also bring something to older people. They would help physically. They would maybe make their lives better
yes.
in a mental sense, maybe. But I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm saying that there's
Well,
something to
Clive,
offer
sorry,
both
I
ways.
interrupt you. With the
No, go.
technology we are living right now, with the
Oh yeah,
artificial intelligence, with all that internet stuff and mobile phones and so on, I think younger population, I don't know how many years ahead, say right now,
teaching
and
the so other way.
they can teach. They're able maybe to teach the older population much more than the older
Good point.
population may teach the youngest.
Yes, but
Maybe history. I don't know.
we speak about AE, but for me, nothing can change the real life, the real travel, to see the culture, to smell different, to the AE cannot replace that. When I go to India, it was incredible. All your senses are, you will discover new senses, it's very incredible. The travel is, nothing can replace the travel.
Yeah.
So let's travel.
Yes, let's travel.
Yeah.
Yes, let's travel. For me,
let's make traveling easier.
yeah, let's make traveling easier. Yes, that's the key, because travel is the better education.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Stephen Oliver has a good question. He says, "Good question." I'm reading it because we have listeners. Sometimes they don't watch. Good question. In my opinion, the European countries need the BRICS countries more than the reverse. In other words, Europe has more to gain from cooperating than isolating BRICS.
Yes, it's very nice, and as I told, Europe has to have more humility about the BRICS and work more together, and not against the BRICS. That's to several times.
Yes.
And maybe if Luhan, if you say that BRICS needs a structure, but as soon as BRICS has its structure, for example, imagine,
Mhm.
will it be more difficult maybe for European countries to work with the structure than from each country inside? Now, European countries, France as an example, they work country by country. They work with Brazil, they work with Egypt, they work with China, of course. They do not work so much with Russia, as I told. But as soon as BRICS has a structure, its parliament, its legislature, I don't know, won't it be more difficult in this way?
No, I think it's not can be more easier, because if BRICS have a structure, they can have a structure to work with European countries, and the Europe can have a structure to work with the BRICS. Why we have a structure for South America, North America, Asia, and not a structure from the BRICS and the European Parliament?
Because China is in Asia, and you have a structure for in Asia. Brazil is South America, and there is a structure for South America.
Maybe it's easier to have only one structure.
Well,
Because
I think it's interesting.
Related subject with Brazil and China. We have to keep it more simple.
Yeah, sure.
Simpler,
That
to
always
simplify.
helps.
Yeah, simplify everything in the word. The word is very difficult. You keep it simple, please.
Another thing I wanted to bring up. I mean, this structure, this parliamentary idea from Putin is actually really interesting, you know, and it's actually not the topic of our discussion today, but it's when we talk about Europe, you know, it's sort of an expansion of BRICS initiative. But also, I remember adjunct professor Warwick Powell, he mentioned how the political system in China is different. They have more of a dialogue type system where they actually, like in Australia and America, they argue, right, in their in the chamber, and that's their form of parley. But in China, they actually have they talk, and they have more input from different. I'm not that familiar with it, but the professor was actually. It's possible that they could actually learn from each other in a parliamentary system and become. And I think it would be a good experience on a personal level, on a professional level, potentially. But this is also to do with, you know, the BRICS Plus Development Group that you are vice president of too, Luhan, because then when you are talking to these officials and companies too, representatives, organizations, or educational, they're going to maybe have a different view about how they talk to each other and what they talk to each other about, what traditionally they'll be interested in. You know, before maybe it was advanced industry, R&D, now it's basic development, more of a focus on education. I think it's actually, the horizon is very broad, I think.
Maybe.
Very good. I love your point of view.
Well, if there isn't anything else, we'll close up. If there's no more comments or questions from the audience, let's just put it up
questions?
and say, you know, there's a lot of comments.
Yes.
That was very nice to exchange with you. I like a lot.
Yeah, you too. You're so busy. You're actually on the ground. It's like amazing.
Yes, and tonight I have a reception with the Consul of Morocco.
Oh, well.
Morocco.
Because it's
Another African country.
It's the day of the king today, so I have a reception. And,
nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
Then we'll leave you to be prepared.
And I have a lot of people told me about I can do in French the next time for the French people, if you agree.
Oh, okay. I don't speak French. Can we? Anastasia does.
Told me, speak in French the next time. Okay. I saw and we put the subtitle in he.
Okay.
Look,
okay.
I think it's a good idea. We're an English channel, but I think it's a good idea because we do want you to express yourself fully, right? And I don't know, you make a lot of effort to speak a second language. I do appreciate it because I only speak English, and other people speak English for me sometimes, only for me, and I feel a bit obligated. So I really appreciate it, but we do want you to express yourself fully and technically too, especially in your field. So, you know, we will consider it. Absolutely. And Anastasia speaks French, so that's not a problem. Right?
Well, I wouldn't tell so. My French is alors, cher ami.
Ah, très bien. Because French is my third language. My first one is English. My first one is French. Second one Brazil, and the English is the third. And,
just to remind you. Yeah, thank you, Luhan. Thank you.
Thank you
the subtitles are available in a few hours on YouTube. Yeah, so people, you know, if you're French, you can read it as well.
Okay.
All right, I'll close up. Thanks again, Luhan. Really appreciate it.
Luhan. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to BRICS Brief, everyone. If you've enjoyed this episode and wish to join the conversation, you can comment below. Please like and share this episode and spread it as far as possible. You can follow us on our Substack and other social media platforms, especially our Telegram, please. All linked below. Stay curious, stay connected, stay optimistic, Let's keep exploring together. Au revoir.